European mantis. The European mantis, Mantis religiosa, is a large hemimetabolic insect in the family of the Mantidae, mantids, which is the largest family of the order Mantodea, mantises. 3. Their common name praying mantis is derived from the distinctive posture of the first pair of legs that can be observed in animals in repose. It resembles a praying attitude. 4. Both males and females have elongated bodies with 2 pairs of wings. The most striking features that all Mantodea share are a very mobile, triangular head with large compound eyes and their first pair of legs, the raptorial legs, which is highly modified for the efficient capture and restraint of fast-moving or flying prey. 4. In Germany, M. religiosa is listed as gefährdet, endangered, on the German Red List on the basis of an assessment from 1998. 5. It is not supposed to be caught or held as a pet. 6. At a global level, it is assessed by the IUCN as least concern. 2. Copy of the original description of several species of mantis including Mantis religiosa, described by Carl Linnaeus's Gryllus mantis religiosus in 1758. Anatomy. Though females of M. religiosa are usually larger and heavier than males, 7-9 cm versus 6 to 7 cm, the antennae and the eyes of male animals outsize those of the females. Along with the forward-directed, compound eyes, simple eyes also are found on the head. These 3 dorsal ocelli are also more pronounced in males than in females. 3. Males are often found to be more active and agile, whereas females are physically more powerful. 4. Adult females are generally too large and heavy for their wings to enable a takeoff. 3. 7. Mantids show strong diametic display from very early life stages on. 8. This behavior can be observed throughout different groups of animals and is used to scare or startle potential predators to give the attacked animals a chance to escape. 9. The diametic display in M. religiosa involves wing spreading and bending of the raptorial legs to reveal 2 matched black eye spots with a yellow or white center at the base of the coxae legs. It makes the animal appear much larger and more of a threat to the attacker. The black eye spots are also a distinct feature for species discrimination of the European mantis. 10. Another unique feature of M. religiosa is its midline metathoracic ear, see ultrasound avoidance. This, tympanal auditory organ, is an unpaired structure found on the ventral side of the animal on the metathorax between the 3rd pair of legs. Unlike other sound processing organs found among different groups of insects, the metathoracic ear has a high sensitivity across high and low frequencies and even ultrasound. Therefore, the authors call it a true ear. 11. The great variation in the coloration of M. religiosa from different shades of yellow, brown, green, and sometimes black has been the cause of numerous hypotheses and studies for over 100 years. 12. However, no generally accepted answer about reason, benefit, or mechanism of the coloration or the change of coloration has been found. European mantis. Temporal range, Piacenzian, recent 1. Adult female, Romania. Conservation status. Least concern IUCN 3.12. Scientific classification domain, Eukaryota kingdom, Animalia phylum, Arthropoda class, Insecta order, Mantodea family, Mantidae subfamily, Mantinae tribe, Mantini genus, Mantis species, M. religiosa binomial name. Mantis religiosa. Linnaeus, 1758. Coloration. D. Cessnola observed in 1904 that green mantids were found on fresh green grass, whereas brown individuals seem to prefer brown grass burned by the sun. When forced to change the location as to no longer match their coloration, almost all the, not matching, animals were killed by predators such as birds. This indicates a camouflaging purpose of the coloration. 13. Perzabram also observed in 1907 that a change in temperature can trigger a change in coloration. 8. Animals that hatched in a cold environment turned green after molting when heat and sunlight were provided. Without the change in temperature and only a change in the color of the background, no change in coloration occurred. 8. This finding contradicts with D. Cessnola, who claims to have observed the animals within the same time and location, and therefore the same temperature. 13. Brown European mantis. M. religiosa can be found throughout Europe, Asia, and Africa, as well as North America. 14. Where it is considered introduced. 15. 2 confirmed stable populations are in Germany, 1 in Rhineland-Palatinate and 1 in Baden-Württemberg. In the last years, more reports have been made of the distribution of the animals in Northern Europe, Latvia, Estonia as well. 16, 17, 18. While it is absent from the British Isles, M. religiosa has been recorded breeding on the Channel Islands with a particularly abundant population on the island of Jersey, suggesting that its range may be capable of expanding north to Great Britain. 19. Despite being an introduced species, it is the official state insect of Connecticut. 20. Subspecies. See text. Synonyms. Gryllus religiosus Linnaeus, 1758. Distribution. Reproduction. The sexual behavior of praying mantids in general is curious, so has received interest from scientists over the last century. The differences between the various species are well known. In M. religiosa, courtship and mating are separated into 2 steps. Preliminary courtship begins with the first visual contact between the animals and ends with the first physical contact. Copulation begins with physical contact and ends when the spermatophore is deposited. 4. Only a few days after the final molt into adults, the animals begin to show interest in the opposite sex. This point is marked as the achievement of sexual maturity. Males have been observed to be most attracted to females during the middle of the day when the temperature is hottest. Theories are that the female pheromones are most volatile in the heat and that also the male, as a thermophilic insect, is most active. 6, 7. Instead of just observing them, sexually mature males approach sexually mature females when they see them, but due to the physical superiority of the females, males of M. religiosa face certain challenges in doing so. When a female spots a male, she is very likely to attack and kill him. See also, sexual cannibalism. Therefore, males can be observed to be very slow and cautious in their approach. After spotting a female, the male usually freezes and turns his head to look directly at her. Since the phobi in his eyes face directly forwards, he has the most accurate and detailed view of her and can watch every one of her moves. 21. He then proceeds to approach her from behind. Males can be observed to stop as soon as the female turns her head or even moves. Mantids are very good at detecting moving structures, but are almost unable to see immobile objects. Using this stop and go tactic, the male stalks closer to the female. This can often take several hours. Depending on the environment, males sometimes show a light, rocking behavior which is believed to imitate the leaves of surrounding plants to blend in with the background. Males doing this had no higher probability of being detected and attacked, which supports this hypothesis of concealment. 7. No mention of male or female courtship has been made in either the field or captivity. The male, in fact, does not win by display, he wins by the absence of display. 4. Once the male is close enough to the female, he opens his wings a little to facilitate his jump on the female's back. As soon as he lands, he proceeds to hold on to her with his raptorial legs. His tibiae fit into a pair of grooves on either side of the female's mesothorax in front of her wing bases. 4. When the male is in a secure position, copulation is initiated. The genitals, which are found on the end of the abdomen in both sexes, look quite different. The males possess a pair of asymmetrical claspers, while the females have an ovipositor. The ovipositor is rather short in comparison to other insects. It is covered in part by the edges of the last sternum. The abdomen of the male curves and twists in a 90 degrees angle around the females to insert the claspers between the ovipositor and the sternum. The abdomen of the male then contracts in a peristaltic manner. The animals can stay in this position for 4 to 5 hours before a spermatophore is deposited inside the female and the claspers are withdrawn. 4. The male then lets go of the female to drop to the ground to get out of her reach for his own safety. After getting away about 50 centimeters, he stops and freezes for about 4 minutes before he leaves eventually. 7. This behavior could be interpreted as necessary rest after the efforts of copulating in a safe distance from the female. Larval development. The intervals of oviposition after copulating depend on the food intake and the overall physical fitness of the female. On average, 11 days are needed for the female to form and deposit an ootheca, which contains around 100 to 200 eggs. 7. Copulation usually takes place in September or October, but the eggs overwinter and the larvae do not hatch until the following spring. Hatching is strongly influenced by environmental conditions such as temperature, at least 17 degrees Celsius (22), and humidity. Females prefer to deposit their eggs on solid substrates at warm and sunny sites. Most eggs from one ootheca hatch at the same time along the entire convex site, as worm-like prolarvae L1. The hatchings always occur in the morning. 6, 3, 8. The L1 just exists for a very short time. The first molt happens on or very close to the ootheca. The now emerging nymphs already look a lot like the adults, but are maybe a tenth of their size. Very few animals, about 10%, survive this first instar stage due to lack of appropriately sized food, low temperatures, or insufficient humidity. 3. The L2 L6 stages generally last about 14 days each. During this time, a growth around 6 mm per stadium can be observed. Each stadium is completed with a molt. The L7 develops a more compact shape. Wing pads become visible. L7 and L8 show the same growth rate and duration as the previous stadia. After the next molt, the adult animal emerges. It now has wings and is fully developed. While more than 8 molts have never been observed in M. religiosa, females usually need one more molt than males under similar circumstances. Closely related mantids have been reported to be larger than M. religiosa and require more molts, 9 to 11. The fact that females need a longer time to develop and more molts might be due to the difference in size. 8. Sexual cannibalism. Praying mantis sexual cannibalism. The phenomenon that conspecifics are attacked and eaten after, during, and even before copulation is called sexual cannibalism. Many examples are known in various groups of invertebrates, including the mantids. Some speculations exist about the benefits of this behavior, but its causes are not fully understood yet. 23. For quite some time, the belief that sexual cannibalism in M. religiosa only occurred in captivity was widespread. It was believed to be an artifact of improper animal keeping, too little food or space. In 1992, however, the cannibalizing behavior of female M. religiosa was observed in a field study. Lawrence compared the percentage of cannibalism in natural and manipulated males and females were put close together in the field pairings and found rates of 31% and 24%. This proves that sexual cannibalism in this praying mantid is not caused by laboratory conditions. They can, however, intensify the phenomenon. Females that were starved for more than 3 days were more likely to attack males, even before copulation. 7. While the cannibalization before the copulation is still puzzling to scientists, some theories about the benefits of sexual cannibalism in general include: eating her mate provides the female with nutrients so she does not have to hunt. She has a prey item available that is bigger than the prey she would be able to catch in the manner she usually hunts. The meal also usually takes place during or shortly after she was fertilized, giving her more resources for the faster production of a large ootheca with large eggs, thus increasing the chance of her offspring to survive. Males have also been known to be more attracted to heavier, well-nourished females for this reason. 7. At first glance, however, this behavior does not seem to be very beneficial for the male, since he dies and cannot create more offspring with his genetic material, yet males usually do not mate more than once, anyway. They have a shorter life expectancy than females, 7 to 8 months versus 11 to 12 months, and since food can begin to become scarce in September and October, the male might starve before he has a chance to mate again. Copulation is also known to take longer when cannibalization occurs. It seems advantageous to transfer more sperm in this elongated time and additionally provide the female with nutrients. Doing this, the male might just pass on his genes once, but he can make sure that his offspring are successful, since they come from a well-nourished female. 7. Some controversy exists, though, concerning this theory. The absence of elaborate display behavior does not support this selfless behavior of the males. It could have also been observed that males are more likely to approach a female that is distracted by feeding or cleaning herself. The approach is also happening faster in these cases. The male seems to try to avoid his cannibalization very actively. 24. The fact that sexual cannibalization happens so often is surely also supported because a male without a head can continue and even initiate copulation. The cerebral ganglion might have an inhibitory effect on copulatory reflexes. Once it is removed by removing the head, copulation might even be longer, since the male can never decide to let go. 425. A few mantids can also start copulating when the heads of both animals get removed artificially beforehand. The beheaded animals can live up to 5 hours and usually just die when they bleed out or starve to death. 4. Hunting. M. religiosa hunting for prey, using a planta as a vantage point. M. religiosa is a carnivorous ambush predator that actively scans its environment and feeds on moss insects that are not too large to be captured by rapid extension of its raptorial legs. Only living and moving prey is captured and consumed immediately using their powerful mandibles. 4. Grasshoppers seem to be rather popular, probably because of their type of movement, flying or leaping. 26. But crickets and cockroaches are also frequently preyed upon. The attack or consumption of mollusca, Arania, Myriapoda, or Oligocata is also not unknown. Caught prey gets trapped between the spikes on the femora and tibia and is now immobilized. The mantis then starts eating the still living and preferably moving prey. Some years ago, the general opinion was that they killed their prey with a bite in the neck before consuming it, but current observations do not support this. The animals just start eating the body parts closest to their mouths. 15. M. religiosa is also known to eat conspecifics outside a sexual context. Because of this, they usually need to be kept isolated from each other in captivity. 822. Visual system. The large compound eyes that account for a great portion of the head make clear that vision seems to be important for M. religiosa. Their hunting behavior and their sexual interactions rely almost exclusively on sight and the detection of movement. The capture of fast-flying prey out of the air would not be possible without a high level of temporal resolution. The localization of the direction and distance of the prey are crucial here. The eyes of M. religiosa are apposition eyes with 8 types of photoreceptor cells, so are best adapted for daylight vision. 27. One compound eye of an adult mantid consists of 8,000 to 10,000 optically isolated ommatidia with an interamatidile angle of 2 degrees in the periphery and 0.7 degree in the fovea. 321. Interamatidile angles in insects vary from tens of degrees to 0.24 degrees in dragonflies, which puts the mantids on the upper end of spatial resolution. 27. 28. The overlap of the visual field of the 2 eyes is 40 degrees in nymphs and up to 70 degrees in adults. 321. The pseudopupil, a small, dark region in the eye, is rather conspicuous. It moves when the animal's head is moving and represents the area of parallel ommatidia, which absorb the incident light, so appear darker than the rest of the eye. 29. The peering behavior observed in M. religiosa is believed to be essential for the measurement of distances and depth perception. A side-to-side pendulum-like movement of the head or the whole body in a horizontal plane is used to scan the environment. Motion parallax is a depth cue that describes the fact that the closer the object is, the faster it seems to move when turning one's head while looking at it compared to slower moving objects that are more distant. 30. Animals that were blinded on one eye did not strike for prey, showing that binocular vision is essential, since the disparity between the information of each eye is used to estimate distances, as well. 21. The development of the visual system was reviewed by Carl Krall in 2014. 3. While high contrast cues could be perceived by adults and nymphs 2 hours to 3 days alike, the differentiation between lower contrast cues was much less successful in the 2-hour-old animals, but a great improvement occurred after only 3 days of life. The eyes of newly hatched animals are less than half the size of the eyes of adult animals and have fewer ommatidia. Also, the facets of the frontal ommatidia, which are usually used for the detection of partners and prey, are not enlarged yet. While they already have all the necessary structures, very young animals have a restricted visual field and lower resolution and sensitivity to light. The great improvement of vision after only 3 days happens due to the sclerotization of the cuticle that includes the corneal lenses of the ommatidia. The improved lenses are not able to focus the light on the retina. 3. Like other mantid species, M. religiosa has stereopsis vision. 31. Subspecies. Mr. Babienkoi is found in Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Mongolia, West Siberia, and Primorsky Krai, Russia and Far East. 32. Mr. Caucasica is found in Stavropol. Mr. Iclari is found in Ethiopia, Mauritania, Neokolokoba, Ghana, Cameroon, Kenya, the Congo, Niger, Senegal, Somalia, Sudan, Tanzania, Togo, Zimbabwe, Burkina Faso, Zambia, and Anatolia. Mr. Anornata is found in India, Iran, Nepal, and Pakistan. 33. Sin. Mr. Akbari, Sumro et al. 2001. Sin. M. Anornata, Werner, 1930-33. Mr. Langoalata is found in Uzbekistan. Mr. Latinoda if found in Kazakhstan. Mr. Macedonica is found in North Macedonia. Mr. Major is found in Mombasa, Kenya. 34. Mr. Polonica is found in Poland and Russia. 35. Mr. Religiosa is found in Africa, North America, Canada, United States, Europe, 36, and Asia, Nepal, but not in South America or Australia. 33. Sin. Mr. Marocana Thunberg, 1815. Sin. Mr. Radiata Fisher Waldheim, 1846. Sin. Mr. Sancta Fabricius, 1787, 34. Mr. Seedlitsky is found in Southeast Asia, Taiwan, Thailand, Malaysia, Java, and Sulawesi. Mr. Sinica is found in China, Japan, Korea, Myanmar, and Vietnam. 37-38. M. religiosa, female with indicative marking black spot on forecoxa. The raptorial foreleg of a praying mantis. Mating pair of M. religiosa, Lower Austria. Ubica Sardinia, Italy. Adult male M. religiosa in Saône et Loire, 71, France, in September, 2008. Brown adult male M. religiosa 2008. October, Cerrado Ratti, Alessandria. M. religiosa nymph, France. Adult male M. religiosa. Brown adult female M. religiosa. Brown adult female M. religiosa. 12 centimeters. Female adult L. Escorial, Spain. Adult Mr. religiosa in Guelph, Ontario. Gallery. Ubica in Guelph, Ontario. Damaged Ubica in Guelph, Ontario. At the Aristotle Park of Stagira. Praying mantis, Mantis religiosa, praying and eating a grasshopper. Subadult female Mantis religiosa molting to its adult stage. European mantis, Mantis religiosa, near the Black Sea, Odessa Oblast, Ukraine. 1. Fossil works, Mantis religiosa, 570. 2. Battiston, R. 2016. Mantis religiosa, 76. IUCN Red List of Threatened Species. 2016. E. T 44,793,247 A 44,798,476. doi 10.2305/un.uc 2016-1. RLTS T 44,793,247 A 44,798,476. NNUK 2016-1. RLTS T 44,793,247 A 44,798,476. N. Retrieved 16 November 2023. 3. Krall, Carl, March 2014. Orientation behavior with and without visual cues in newly hatched and adult praying mantis. Journal of Insect Behavior. 27 192-205. Bibcode 2014 JIBA. 0.27, 192K. doi 10.1007 per second 10905-013-94153. S2CID 17,222,572. References. M. religiosa is also known to eat conspecifics outside a sexual context. Because of this, they usually need to be kept isolated from each other in captivity. 822. Visual system. The large compound eyes that account for a great portion of the head make clear that vision seems to be important for M. religiosa. Their hunting behavior and their sexual interactions rely almost exclusively on sight and the detection of movement. The capture of fast-flying prey out of the air would not be possible without a high level of temporal resolution. The localization of the direction and distance of the prey are crucial here. The eyes of M. religiosa are apposition eyes with 8 types of photoreceptor cells, so are best adapted for daylight vision. 27. One compound eye of an adult mantid consists of 8,000 to 10,000 optically isolated ommatidia with an interamatidile angle of 2 degrees in the periphery and 0.7 degree in the fovea. 321. Interamatidile angles in insects vary from tens of degrees to 0.24 degrees in dragonflies, which puts the mantids on the upper end of spatial resolution. 27. 28. The overlap of the visual field of the 2 eyes is 40 degrees in nymphs and up to 70 degrees in adults. 321. The pseudopupil, a small, dark region in the eye, is rather conspicuous. It moves when the animal's head is moving and represents the area of parallel ommatidia, which absorb the incident light, so appear darker than the rest of the eye. 29. The peering behavior observed in M. religiosa is believed to be essential for the measurement of distances and depth perception. A side-to-side pendulum-like movement of the head or the whole body in a horizontal plane is used to scan the environment. Motion parallax is a depth cue that describes the fact that the closer the object is, the faster it seems to move when turning one's head while looking at it compared to slower moving objects that are more distant. 30. Animals that were blinded on one eye did not strike for prey, showing that binocular vision is essential, since the disparity between the information of each eye is used to estimate distances, as well. 21. The development of the visual system was reviewed by Carl Krall in 2014. 3. While high contrast cues could be perceived by adults and nymphs 2 hours to 3 days alike, the differentiation between lower contrast cues was much less successful in the 2-hour-old animals, but a great improvement occurred after only 3 days of life. The eyes of newly hatched animals are less than half the size of the eyes of adult animals and have fewer ommatidia. Also, the facets of the frontal ommatidia, which are usually used for the detection of partners and prey, are not enlarged yet. While they already have all the necessary structures, very young animals have a restricted visual field and lower resolution and sensitivity to light. The great improvement of vision after only 3 days happens due to the sclerotization of the cuticle that includes the corneal lenses of the ommatidia. The improved lenses are not able to focus the light on the retina. 3. Like other mantid species, M. religiosa has stereopsis vision. 31. Subspecies. Mr. Babienkoi is found in Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Mongolia, West Siberia, and Primorsky Krai, Russia and Far East. 32. Mr. caucasica is found in Stavropol. Mr. Iclari is found in Ethiopia, Mauritania, Neokolokoba, Ghana, Cameroon, Kenya, the Congo, Niger, Senegal, Somalia, Sudan, Tanzania, Togo, Zimbabwe, Burkina Faso, Zambia, and Anatolia. Mr. anornata is found in India, Iran, Nepal, and Pakistan. 33. Sin. Mr. Akbari, Sumro et al. 2001. Sin. M. anornata, Werner, 1930. 33. Mr. langoalata is found in Uzbekistan. M. religiosa, female with indicative marking black spot on forecoxa. The raptorial foreleg of a praying mantis. Mating pair of M. religiosa, Lower Austria. Ubica Sardinia, Italy. Adult male M. religiosa in Saône-et-Loire, 71, France, in September, 2008. Brown adult male M. religiosa 2008. October, Cerreto Ratti, Alessandria. M. religiosa nymph, France. Adult male M. religiosa. Brown adult female M. religiosa. Brown adult female M. religiosa. 12 centimeters. Female adult L. Escorial, Spain. Adult Mr. religiosa in Guelph, Ontario. Gallery. Ubica in Guelph, Ontario. Damaged Ubica in Guelph, Ontario. At the Aristotle Park of Stagira. Praying mantis, Mantis religiosa, praying and eating a grasshopper. Subadult female Mantis religiosa molting to its adult stage. European mantis, Mantis religiosa, near the Black Sea, Odessa Oblast, Ukraine. 1. Fossil works, Mantis religiosa, 570. 2. Battiston, R. 2016. Mantis religiosa, 76. IUCN Red List of Threatened Species. 2016. E. T 44,793,247 A 44,798,476. DOI 10.2305/UN.UC 2016-1. RLTS T 44,793,247 A 44,798,476. NNUK 2016-1. RLTS T 44,793,247 A 44,798,476. N. Retrieved 16 November 2023. 3. Krall, Carl, March 2014. Orientation behavior with and without visual cues in newly hatched and adult praying mantis. Journal of Insect Behavior. 27 192 to 205. Bib code. 2014 JIBA. 0.27. 192K. doi. 10.1007 per second 10905 013 94153. S2 CID 17222572. References. Cannibalism is when an animal, usually the female. Sexual cannibalism. Sexual cannibalism is when an animal, usually the female, cannibalizes its mate prior to, during, or after copulation. 1. This trait is observed in many arachnid orders, several insect and crustacean clades, 2. Gastropods, and some snake species. Several hypotheses to explain this seemingly paradoxical behavior have been proposed, including the adaptive foraging hypothesis, 3. Aggressive spillover hypothesis, 4. And mistaken identity hypothesis. 5. This behavior is believed to have evolved as a manifestation of sexual conflict, occurring when the reproductive interests of males and females differ. 6. In many species that exhibit sexual cannibalism, the female consumes the male upon detection. Females of cannibalistic species are generally hostile and unwilling to mate, thus many males of these species have developed adaptive behaviors to counteract female aggression. 7. 8. The prevalence of sexual cannibalism gives several species of Latrodectus the common name, black widow spider. Prevalence. Sexual cannibalism is common among insects, arachnids and amphipods. 9. Sexual cannibalism is common among species with prominent sexual size dimorphism, SSD. Extreme SSD likely drives this trait of sexual cannibalism in spiders. 10. It also sometimes occurs in some anacondas, especially the green anaconda, Eunectes murinus, where females are larger than the males. 11. Proposed explanations. A female Chinese mantis eats a male copulating with her. Different hypotheses have been proposed to explain sexual cannibalism, namely adaptive foraging, aggressive spillover, mate choice, and mistaken identity. Adaptive foraging. The adaptive foraging hypothesis is a proposed pre-copulatory explanation in which females assess the nutritional value of a male compared to the male's value as a mate. 12. Starving females are usually in poor physical condition and are therefore more likely to cannibalize a male than to mate with him. 13. Among mantises, cannibalism by female Pseudomantis albofimbriata improves fecundity, overall growth, and body condition. 12. A study on the Chinese mantis found that cannibalism occurred in up to 50% of matings. 14. Among spiders, Dolomedes trident females in need of additional energy and nutrients for egg development choose to consume the closest nutritional source, even if this means cannibalizing a potential mate. 15. In Agellanopsis pennsylvanica and Lycosa tarantula, a significant increase in fecundity, egg case size, hatching success, and survivorship of offspring has been observed when hungry females choose to cannibalize smaller males before copulating with larger, genetically superior males. 16. 17. This reproductive success was largely due to the increased energy uptake by cannibalizing males and investing that additional energy in the development of larger, higher quality egg cases. 16. 18. In D. trident, post-copulatory sexual cannibalism was observed in the females that had a limited food source. These females copulated with the males and then cannibalized them. 15. The adaptive foraging hypothesis has been criticized because males are considered poor meals when compared to crickets. However, recent findings discovered Hogna helluo males have nutrients crickets lack, including various proteins and lipids. 18. 19. In H. helluo, females have a higher protein diet when cannibalizing males than when consuming only house crickets. 18. Further studies show that Argiope kieserlingi females with high protein, low lipid diets resulting from sexual cannibalism may produce eggs of greater egg energy density, yolk investment. 3. Aggressive spillover. The aggressive spillover hypothesis suggests that the more aggressive a female is concerning prey, the more likely the female is to cannibalize a potential mate. 15. The decision of a female to cannibalize a male is not defined by the nutritional value or genetic advantage, courtship dances, male aggressiveness, and large body size of males but instead depends strictly on her aggressive state. 9. 15. Aggression of the female is measured by latency, speed, of attack on prey. The faster the speed of attack and consumption of prey, the higher the aggressiveness level. 20. Females displaying aggressive characteristics tend to grow larger than other females and display continuous cannibalistic behavior. Such behavior may drive away potential mates, reducing chances of mating. 21. Aggressive behavior is less common in an environment that is female biased, because there is more competition to mate with a male. In these female-dominated environments, such aggressive behavior comes with the risk of scaring away potential mates. 17. 22. Males of the Pissora mirabilis species feign death to avoid being cannibalized by a female prior to copulation. 23. When males feign death, their success in reproduction depends on the level of aggressiveness the female displays. 23. 24. Research has shown that in the Nephalanges livida species, female aggressiveness had no effect on the likelihood of her cannibalizing a potential mate. Male aggressiveness and male-male competition determined which male the female cannibalized. Males with aggressive characteristics were favored and had a higher chance of mating with a female. 19. Mate choice. Nephila sp. Eating a conspecific. Females exercise mate choice, rejecting unwanted and unfit males by cannibalizing them. 25. Mate choice often correlates size with fitness level. Smaller males tend to display a low level of fitness. Smaller males are therefore eaten more often because of their undesirable traits. 25. Males perform elaborate courtship dances to display fitness and genetic advantage. 26. Female orb web spiders, Nephilinges livida, tend to cannibalize males displaying less aggressive behavior and mate with males displaying more aggressive behavior, showing a preference for this trait. 19. Which, along with large body size that indicates a strong foraging ability, displays high male quality and genetic advantage. 1927. Indirect mate choice can be witnessed in fishing spiders, Dolomedes fimbriatus, where females do not discriminate against smaller body size, attacking males of all sizes. Females had lower success rates cannibalizing large males, which managed to escape where smaller males could not. 4. It was shown that males with desirable traits, large body size, high aggression, and long courtship dances, had longer copulation duration than males with undesirable traits. 1927. In Acrididae and Nephila edulus, females allow longer copulation duration and a second copulation for smaller males. 28. The gravity hypothesis suggests that some species of spiders may favor smaller body sizes because they enable them to climb up plants more efficiently and find a mate faster. 29. Also, smaller males may be favored because they hatch and mature faster, giving them a direct advantage in finding and mating with a female. 30. In Leucage mariana, females will cannibalize males if their sexual performance was poor. They use palpal inflations to determine sperm count, and if the female deems sperm count too low, she will consume the male. 31. In Latrodectus revivensis, females tend to limit copulation duration for small males and deny them a second copulation, showing preference for larger body size. 27. Another form of mate choice is the genetic bet hedging hypothesis, in which a female consumes males to prevent them from exploiting her. 32. It is not beneficial for a female exploited by multiple males because it may result in prey theft, reduction in web, and reduced time of foraging. 33. Sexual cannibalism might have promoted the evolution of some behavioral and morphological traits exhibited by spiders today. 27. Mistaken identity. The mistaken identity hypothesis suggests that sexual cannibalism occurs when females fail to identify males that try to court. 5. This hypothesis suggests that a cannibalistic female attacks and consumes the male without the knowledge of mate quality. In pre-copulatory sexual cannibalism, mistaken identity can be seen when a female does not allow the male to perform the courtship dance and engages in attack. 15. There is no conclusive evidence for this hypothesis because scientists struggle to distinguish between mistaken identity and the other hypotheses, aggressive spillover, adaptive foraging, and mate choice. 34. Male adaptive behaviors. In some cases, sexual cannibalism may characterize an extreme form of male monogamy, in which the male sacrifices itself to the female. Males may gain reproductive success from being cannibalized by either providing nutrients to the female indirectly to the offspring, or through enhancing the probability that their sperm is used to fertilize the female's eggs. 35. Although sexual cannibalism is fairly common in spiders, male self-sacrifice has only been reported in 6 genera of aranioid spiders. However, much of the evidence for male complicity in such cannibalistic behavior may be anecdotal, and has not been replicated in experimental and behavioral studies. 36. Male members of cannibalistic species have adapted different mating tactics as a mechanism for escaping the cannibalistic tendencies of their female counterparts. Current theory suggests antagonistic co-evolution has occurred, where adaptations seen in one sex produce adaptations in the other. 8. Adaptations consist of courtship displays, opportunistic mating tactics, and mate binding. Opportunistic mating. The risk of cannibalism becomes greatly reduced when opportunistic mating is practiced. 8. Opportunistic mating has been characterized in numerous orb-weaving spider species, such as Nephila fenestrata, where the male spider waits until the female is feeding or distracted, and then proceeds with copulation. This greatly reduces the chances of cannibalization. This distraction can be facilitated by the male's presentation of nuptial gifts, where they provide a distracting meal for the female in order to prolong copulation and increase paternity. 8. Altered sexual approach. Multiple methods of sexual approaches have appeared in cannibalistic species as a result of sexual cannibalism. 20. The mechanism by which the male approaches the female is imperative for his survival. If the female is unable to detect his presence, the male is less likely to face cannibalization. This is evident in the mantid species, Tenodera iridifolia, where the male alters his approach utilizing the surrounding windy conditions. The male attempts to avoid detection by approaching the female when the wind impairs her ability to hear him. 37. In the praying mantid species, Pseudomantis albofimbrata, the males approach the female either from a slow mounting from the rear, or a slow approach from the front, positioned to remain undetected. 20. Mate guarding. Sexual cannibalism has impaired the ability of the orb-weaving spider, N. fenestrata, to perform mate guarding. If a male successfully mates with a female, he then exhibits mate guarding, inhibiting the female from remating, thus ensuring his paternity and eliminating sperm competition. 38. Guarding can refer to the blockage of female genital openings to prevent further insertion of a competing male's pedipalps, or physical guarding from potential mates. Guarding can decrease female remating by 50%. 8. Males who experience genital mutilation can sometimes exhibit the gloves off hypothesis, which states that a male's body weight and his endurance are inversely proportional. Thus, when a male's body weight decreases substantially, his endurance increases as a result, allowing him to guard his female mate with increased efficiency. 39. Mate binding. Mate binding refers to a pre-copulatory courtship behavior where the male deposits silk onto the abdomen of the female while simultaneously massaging her in order to reduce her aggressive behavior. This action allows for initial and subsequent copulatory bouts. 7. While both chemical and tactile cues are important factors for reducing cannibalistic behaviors, the latter functions as a resource to calm the female, exhibited in the orb-weaver spider species, Nephila pilipes. 7. Additional hypotheses suggest that male silk contains pheromones which seduce the female into submission. However, silk deposits are not necessary for successful copulation. 7. The primary factor in successful subsequent copulation lies in the tactile communication between the male and female spider that results in female acceptance of the male. 40. The male mounts the posterior portion of the female's abdomen, while rubbing his spinnerets on her abdomen during his attempt at copulation. 7. Mate binding was not necessary for the initiation of copulation in the golden orb-weaving spider, except when the female was resistant to mating. Subsequent copulatory bouts are imperative for the male's ability to copulate due to prolonged sperm transfer, therefore increasing his probability of paternity. 7. Courtship displays. Courtship displays in sexually cannibalistic spiders are imperative in order to ensure the female is less aggressive. Additional courtship displays include pre-copulatory dances such as those observed in the redback spider, and vibrant male coloration morphologies which function as female attraction mechanisms, as seen in the peacock spider, Muratus volans, or in Habronidus pyrothrix. 40. Nuptial gifts play a vital role in safe copulation for males in some species. Males present meals to the female to facilitate opportunistic mating while the female is distracted. 8. Subsequent improvements in male adaptive mating success include web reduction, as seen in the western black widow, Latrodectus hesperus. 41. Once mating occurs, the males destroy a large portion of the female's web to discourage the female from future mating, thus reducing polyandry, which has been observed in the Australian redback spider, Latrodectus hasseltii. 42. Male-induced cataleptic state. In some species of spiders, such as Agellanopsis aperta, the male induces a passive state in the female prior to copulation. 43. It has been hypothesized that the cause of this quiescent state is the male's massaging of the female's abdomen, following male vibratory signals on the web. The female enters a passive state, and the male's risk of facing cannibalism is reduced. This state is most likely induced as a result of a male volatile pheromone. 43. The chemical structure of the pheromone utilized by the male aperta is currently unknown. However, physical contact is not necessary for the induced passive state. Eunuch males, or males with partially or fully removed palps, are unable to induce the passive state on females from a distance, but can induce quiescence upon physical contact with the female. This suggests that the pheromone produced is potentially related to sperm production, since the male inserts sperm from his pedipalps, structures which are removed in eunuchs. 43. This adaptation has most likely evolved in response to the overly aggressive nature of female spiders. Copulatory silk wrapping. In order to avoid being consumed by the female, some male spiders may utilize their silk to physically bind the female spider. For example, in Pissorina mira, also known as the nursery web spider, the male wraps the legs of the female in silk prior to and during copulation. While he holds legs 3 and IV of the female, he uses the silk to bind legs I and 2. 44. Because the male spider legs play a significant role in copulation, longer leg length P. mira are generally favored over shorter lengths. In the Paratrecholaea genus, males silk wrap nutritive or worthless gifts to avoid being cannibalized by the female spider. Costs and benefits for males. The physiological impacts of cannibalism on male fitness include his inability to father any offspring if he is unable to mate with a female. There are males in species of arachnids, such as N. plumipes, that sire more offspring if the male is cannibalized after or during mating. Copulation is prolonged and sperm transfer is increased. 38. In the species of orb-weaving spider, Argiope aurantia, males prefer short copulation duration upon the first palp insertion in order to avoid cannibalism. Upon the second insertion, however, the male remains inserted in the female. The male exhibits a programmed death to function as a full-body genital plug. This causes it to become increasingly difficult for the female to remove him from her genital openings, discouraging her from mating with other males. 45. An additional benefit to cannibalization is the idea that a well-fed female is less likely to mate again. 46. If the female has no desire to mate again, the male who has already mated with her has his paternity ensured. Genital mutilation. Before or after copulating with females, certain males of spider species in the superfamily Aranioidea become half or full eunuchs with one or both of their pedipalps, male genitals, severed. This behavior is often seen in sexually cannibalistic spiders, causing them to exhibit the eunuch phenomenon. 39. Due to the chance that they may be eaten during or after copulation, male spiders use genital mutilation to increase their chances of successful mating. The male can increase his chances of paternity if the female's copulatory organs are blocked, which decreases sperm competition and her chances of mating with other males. In one study, females with mating plugs had a 75% lower chance of remating. 47. Additionally, if a male successfully severs his pedipalp within the female copulatory duct, the pedipalp can not only serve as a plug but can continue to release sperm to the female spermatocyte, again increasing the male's chances of paternity. This is referred to as remote copulation. 48. Occasionally, in 12% of cases in a 2012 study on Nephilidae spiders, palp severance is only partial due to copulation interruption by sexual cannibalism. Partial palp severance can result in a successful mating plug but not to the extent of full palp severance. 48. Some males, as in the orb-weaving spider, Argiope aurantia, have been found to spontaneously die within 15 minutes of their second copulation with a female. 45. The male dies while his pedipalps are still intact within the female, as well as still swollen from copulation. In this programmed death, the male is able to utilize his entire body as a genital plug for the female, causing it to be much more difficult for her to remove him from her copulatory ducts. 45. In other species, males voluntarily self-amputate a pedipalp prior to mating, and thus the mutilation is not driven by sexual cannibalism. This has been hypothesized to be due to an increased fitness advantage of half or full eunuchs. Upon losing a pedipalp, males experience a significant decrease in body weight that provides them with enhanced locomotor abilities and endurance, enabling them to better search for a mate and mate guard after mating. This is referred to as the gloves off theory. 39. Males and females have also been seen with the roles reversed in terms of genital mutilation. In Cyclosa argentio-alba, males mutilate female spiders' genitals by detaching the female's scape, making it impossible for another male to mate with them. Male self-sacrifice. Male reproductive success can be determined by their number of fathered offspring, and monogeny is seen quite often in sexually cannibalistic species. Males are willing to sacrifice themselves, or lose their reproductive organs in order to ensure their paternity from one mating instance. 45-47. Whether it is by spontaneous programmed death, or the male catapulting into the mouth of the female, these self-sacrificing males die in order for prolonged copulation to occur. Males of many of these species cannot replenish sperm stores, therefore they must exhibit these extreme behaviors in order to ensure sperm transfer and fathered offspring during their one and only mating instance. An example of such behavior can be seen in the redback spider. The males of this species somersault into the mouths of the female after copulation has occurred, which has been shown to increase paternity by 65% when compared to males that are not cannibalized. A majority of males in this species are likely to die on the search for a mate, so the male must sacrifice himself as an offering if it means prolonged copulation and doubled paternity. In many species, cannibalized males can mate longer, thus having longer sperm transfers. 49. Male sexual cannibalism. Although females often instigate sexual cannibalism, reversed sexual cannibalism has been observed in the spiders Mycaria sociabilis 50-51 and Alocosa brasiliensis 52-53. In a laboratory experiment on M. sociabilis, males preferred to eat older females. This behavior may be interpreted as adaptive foraging, because older females have low reproductive potential and food may be limited. Reversed cannibalism in M. sociabilis may also be influenced by size dimorphism. Males and females are similar in size, and bigger males were more likely to be cannibalistic. 51. In a brasiliensis, males tend to be cannibalistic in between mating seasons, after they have mated, gone out of their burrows to search for food, and left their mates in their burrows. Any females they cross during this period likely have little reproductive value, so this may also be interpreted as adaptive. Arthropods portal. Foraging. 53. It has also been observed in the crab Ovilepes catharis. Reversed sexual cannibalism is also observed in a snake species called Malpollen montspecilanus, commonly known as Montpelier snakes. This behavior may occur due to their opportunistic feeding habits, lack of availability of prey, or competition for resources among the individuals of the species. As this species exhibits male-biased sexual dimorphism, it is easier for male Montpelier snakes to attack and cannibalize the females. Male cannibalism might also be triggered by the refusal to mate by female M. montspecilanus. 54. Males in these mating systems are generally monogamous, if not bigynous. 39. Since males of these cannibalistic species have adapted to the extreme mating system, and usually mate only once with a polyandrous female, they are considered monogynous. 55. Sexual dimorphism. Sexual dimorphism in size has been proposed as an explanation for the widespread nature of sexual cannibalism across distantly related arthropods. Typically, male birds and mammals are larger as they participate in male-male competition. 56. However, in arthropods this size dimorphism ratio is reversed, with females commonly larger than males. Sexual cannibalism may have led to selection for larger, stronger females in invertebrates. 25. Further research is needed to evaluate the explanation. To date, studies have been done on wolf spiders such as Zyusicosa lycosidae, where the female is much larger than the male. 57. Bones and all. Evolutionary arms race femme fatale. Mantophasmatodea is a family of carnivorous wingless insects within the monotypic order Mantophasmatodea, which was discovered in Africa in 2001. 1-2. Recent evidence indicates a sister group relationship with Gryloblattidae classified in the order Gryloblattodia. 3-4. And Arillo and Engel have combined the two groups into a single order, Notoptera, with Gryloblattodia and Mantophasmatodea ranked as suborders. 5. Overview. The most common vernacular name for this order is gladiators, although they also are called rock crawlers, heel walkers. Mantophasmatodea. Mantophasmatodea is a family of carnivorous wingless insects within the monotypic order Mantophasmatodea, which was discovered in Africa in 2001. 1-2. Recent evidence indicates a sister group relationship with Gryloblattidae classified in the order Gryloblattodia. 3-4. And Arillo and Engel have combined the two groups into a single order, Notoptera, with Gryloblattodia and Mantophasmatodea ranked as suborders. 5. Overview. The most common vernacular name for this order is gladiators, although they also are called rock crawlers, heel walkers, mantophasmids, and colloquially, mantos. 6. Their modern center of endemism is Western South Africa and Namibia, Brandberg Massif. 7. Although the modern relict population of Tanzaniophasma subsolana in Tanzania and Eocene fossils suggest a wider ancient distribution. Mantophasmatodea are wingless even as adults, making them relatively difficult to identify. They resemble a cross between praying mantises and phasmids, and molecular evidence indicates that they are most closely related to the equally enigmatic group Gryloblattodia. 3-4. Initially, the gladiators were described from old museum specimens that originally were found in Namibia, Mantophasma zephyra, and Tanzania, M. subsolana, and from a 45 million year old specimen of Baltic amber, Raptophasma kernegeri. Live specimens were found in Namibia by an international expedition in early 2002. Tyrannophasma gladiator was found on the Brandberg Massif, and Mantophasma zephira was found on the Orongoberg Massif. 8. Since then, a number of new genera and species have been discovered, the most recent being 2 new genera, Kubosphasma and Mantophasma, each with a single species, described from Richtersveld in South Africa in 2018. 9. Biology. Mantophasmatids are wingless carnivores. During courtship, they communicate using vibrations transmitted through the ground or substrate. 10. The classification of Mantophasmatodea in Arillo and Engel 2006-5 recognizes numerous genera, including fossils, in a single family Mantophasmatidae. Unidentified Mantophasmid species in the Zoologisk Staatssammlung München. Acrididae. Acrididae are the predominant family of grasshoppers, comprising some 10,000 of the 11,000 species of the entire suborder Calyphora. The Acrididae are best known because all locusts, swarming grasshoppers, are of the Acrididae. The subfamily Edipodinae is sometimes classified as a distinct family Edipodidae in the superfamily Acridoidea. Acrididae grasshoppers are characterized by relatively short and stout antennae, so they may be called short-horned grasshoppers, 3, and tympana on the side of the first abdominal segment. Subfamilies. Calyptomus aegilicus, Calyptaminae. Pesitetics jornae, Pesitetigonae. Egyptian grasshopper Anacridium aegyptium, Certicanthocrididae. Caryandisperia, Caryandinae. Eucopticra anguliflava female Copticrinae. Ipropocnemus plorans plorans. Acrididae. Temporal range, Paleocene to recent 1. Bark mimicking grasshopper, Coryphis ruricola Catantopinae. Scientific classification domain, Eukaryota kingdom, Animalia phylum, Arthropoda class, Insecta order, Orthoptera suborder, Calyphora superfamily, Acridoidea. Family, Acrididae. Maclay, 1819 2. Subfamilies. See text. Synonyms. Acrididae Maclay 1821. Hieroglyphus doginensis. Rhytidocrota risseraldae. Tropodopola cylindrica, Tropodopolinae. The Orthoptera species file, September 2021, lists the following subfamilies of Acrididae. The numbers of genera and species are approximate and may change over time. Acrididae Maclay, 1821, 140 genera, 470 species worldwide. Temperate and tropical Calyptaminae Jacobson, 1905 12 genera, 90 species Africa, Europe, Asia Caryandinae Yin and Lu, 1987 3 genera, 100 species Africa, Asia. Catantopinae Brunner von Wattenwell, 1893 325 genera, 990 species Africa, Asia, spur-throated grasshoppers. Tetrigidae. Tetrigidae 1 is an ancient family in the order Orthoptera, 2 which also includes similar families such as crickets, grasshoppers, and their allies. Species within the Tetrigidae are variously called groundhoppers, 3 pygmy grasshoppers, 4 pygmy devils, 5 or mostly historical grouse locusts. 6. Diagnostic characteristics. A typical tetragid species that commonly inhabits arid banks of water bodies in southern Africa. Lateral aspect, showing how the pronotum covers the hind wings. The vestigial tegmen is visible just above the anterior coxa. Tetrigidae dorsal aspect. The same specimen from above. In both pictures note the unusually heavy structure of the posterior femur, and the correspondingly massive pulley-like femorotibial joint, similar to the anatomy of the Tridactylidae. Tetrigidae are typically less than 20 mm in length and are recognizable by a long pronotum. This pronotum extends over the length of the abdomen, sometimes to the tip of the wings, and ends in a point. 4. In other Orthoptera, the pronotum is short and covers neither the abdomen nor the wings. Tetrigidae are generally cryptic in coloration. 7. Some species have enlarged pronota that mimic leaves, stones or twigs. 8. 9. Other characteristics pygmy grasshoppers exhibit in comparison to other Orthoptera families are the lack of an aurolium between the claws, the first thoracic sternite being modified into collar-like structure called sternomentum, a tarsal formula of 2, 2, 3, scaly forewings, and developed hindwings. 10. In temperate regions, Tetrigidae are generally found along streams and ponds, where they feed on algae and diatoms. 11. The North American species Paratetics aztecus and Paratetics mexicanus, for example, depend on aquatic primary production for between 80% and 100% of their diet. 12. Riparian species are capable of swimming on the surface of the water, and readily leap into the water when alarmed. 9. Some species in the tribe Selimonini are fully aquatic and capable of swimming underwater. 10. 11. The highest biodiversity of Tetrigidae is found in tropical forests. 10. Some tropical species are arboreal and live among mosses and lichens in tree buttresses or in the canopy. 11. While others live on the forest floor. 7. Like other Orthoptera, Tetrigidae have a hemimetabolous development, in which eggs hatch into nymphs. Unlike other temperate Orthoptera, however, temperate Tetrigidae generally overwinter as adults. 4. Some subfamilies within the Tetrigidae, such as the Batrachidianae, are sometimes elevated to family rank besides the Tetrigidae. Arulinus mei is a pygmy grasshopper species from the tropical mountainous rainforests of the Tetrigidae. Tetrix species. Scientific classification domain: Eukaryota kingdom, Animalia phylum, Arthropoda class, Insecta order, Orthoptera suborder, Califera superfamily, Tetragoidea. Family: Tetrigidae. Philippines. The species was firstly discovered in Facebook post 5. Paratetix aztecus eating algae. Origin of the name of the family is not completely clear as there are different sources on its etymology. The name may be derived from Latin tetricus or tetricus, meaning harsh, sour, severe. 13. The name may also originate from the earlier name Tettigidae, based on Tettix, synonym of Tetrix, which was preoccupied by Tettigidae, synonym of Cicadidae. 14. Because of the preoccupation by the cicadas family name, the second T, in TT, was changed into R, resulting in the word Tetrigidae. Approximately 2,000 species have been described. According to the Orthoptera species file 15, the following genera are included. Subfamily Batrachidianae. Sociarella cornuta. Auth. Bolivar, 1887, selected genera. Tripetalocerinae incertae sedis. Etymology. Subfamilies and genera. Stenodorus Hancock, 1906 Pterodorus Hancock, 1907 Tediella Hancock, 1909 Tediellona Gunther, 1979. Uvarovatetix Basiluk and Kiss, 1960 Shitetics Jung and Liang, 1993. Subfamily Tripetalocerinae. Auth. Bolivar, 1887. Tripetalocera ferruginea. Tripetalocerinae was originally described by Bolivar in 1887-19, to gather all the Tetrigidae genera of the Old World with widened antennae e.g. Arulinus, Discotetix, Hirius, Ophiotetix, Tripetalocera. This subfamily today includes only 2 species in 2 genera Tripetalocera, with 1 species from India and Borneo and Tripetaloceroids, with 1 species from Vietnam and PR China. Members of the subfamily are characteristic within Tetrigidae by massive antennae built up of only 8 segments, other Tetrigidae have usually 11 to 16, Batrachidianae 18 to 22. 20. Until recently, 20. The subfamily included 2 tribes Tripetalocerini and Clinopistini, including Clinophistis and Vermana, but the later was moved to the subfamily Metrodorinae due to similarity to Ophiotettiginae. Tettigonidae. Insects in the family Tettigonidae are commonly called katydids, especially in North America. 1. Or bush crickets. 2. They have previously been known as long-horned grasshoppers. 3. More than 8,000 species are known. 1 part of the suborder Ensiphera, the Tettigonidae are the only extant living family in the superfamily Tettigonioidea. Many species are nocturnal in habit, having strident mating calls and may exhibit mimicry or camouflage, commonly with shapes and colors similar to leaves. 4. Etymology. The family name Tettigonidae is derived from the genus Tettigonia, of which the great green bush cricket is the type species. It was first described by Carl Linnaeus in 1758. In Latin, Tettigonia means a kind of small cicada, leafhopper. 5. It is from the Greek tettigonian, the diminutive of the imitative onomatopoeic tetix, cicada. 6. 7. All of these names such as tetix with repeated sounds are onomatopoeic, imitating the stridulation of these insects. 8. The common name katydid is also onomatopoeic and comes from the particularly loud, 3-pulsed song, often rendered, ka-ty-did, of the nominate subspecies of the North American Pterophylla camellifolia, belonging to the subfamily Pseudophyllinae, which are known as true katydids. 9. 10. Description and life cycle. Description. Tettigonia viridissima. Tettigoniids range in size from as small as 5 mm, 0.20 in, to as large as 130 mm, 5.1 in. 11. The smaller species typically live in drier or more stressful habitats which may lead to their small size. The small size is associated with greater agility, faster development, and lower nutritional needs. Tettigoniids are tree-living insects that are most commonly heard at night during summer and early fall. 12. Tettigoniids may be distinguished from the grasshopper by the length of their filamentous antennae, which may exceed their own body length, while grasshoppers' antennae are always relatively short and thickened. Katydid camouflaged on a bamboo leaf. Life cycle. Katydid eggs attached in rows to a plant stem. Tettigoniidae. Temporal range. Tettigonia viridissima. Stridulation of T. viridissima. Scientific classification domain: Eukaryota kingdom, Animalia phylum, Arthropoda class, Insecta order, Orthoptera suborder, Ensiphera infraorder, Tettigonidae superfamily, Tettigonioidea. Krauss, 1902. Family: Tettigoniidae. Krauss, 1902. Subfamilies. See text. 035. Katydid nymph. Eggs are typically oval and may be attached in rows to plants. Where the eggs are deposited relates to the way the ovipositor is formed. It consists of up to 3 pairs of appendages formed to transmit the egg, to make a place for it, and place it properly. Tettigoniids have either sickle-shaped ovipositors which typically lay eggs in dead or living plant matter, or uniform long ovipositors which lay eggs in grass stems. When tettigoniads hatch, the nymphs often look like small, wingless versions of the adults, but in some species, the nymphs look nothing at all like the adult and rather mimic other species such as ants, spiders and assassin bugs, or flowers, to prevent predation. The nymphs remain in a mimic state only until they are large enough to escape predation. Once they complete their last molt, after about 5 successful molts, they are then prepared to mate. 12. Distribution. Tettigoniads are found on every continent except Antarctica. 13. The vast majority of katydid species live in the tropical regions of the world. For example, the Amazon basin rainforest is home to over 2,000 species of katydids. However, katydids are found in the cool, dry temperate regions, as well, with about 255 species in North America. Ecology. Poecillamon thoracicus, Phaneropterinae. The diet of most tettigoniads includes leaves, flowers, bark, and seeds, but many species are exclusively predatory, feeding on other insects, snails, or even small vertebrates such as snakes and lizards. Some are also considered pests by commercial crop growers and are sprayed to limit growth, but population densities are usually low, so large economic impact is rare. 16. Tettigoniads are serious insect pests of Caruca pandanus julianetti. 17. The species Segustes gracilis and Segustidea montana eat the leaves and can sometimes kill trees. 17. Growers will stuff leaves and grass in between the leaves of the crown to keep insects out. 17. By observing the head and mouth parts, where differences can be seen in relation to function, it is possible to determine what type of food the tettigoniads consume. Large tettigoniads can inflict a painful bite or pinch if handled, but seldom break the skin. Some species of bush crickets are consumed by people, such as the Ensenan, Rusfolia differens, in Uganda and neighboring areas. Communication. The males of tettigoniads have sound-producing organs located on the hind angles of their front wings. In some species, females are also capable of stridulation. Females chirp in response to the shrill of the males. The males use this sound for courtship, which occurs late in the summer. 18. The sound is produced by rubbing two parts of their bodies together, called stridulation. In many cases this is done with the wings, but not exclusively. One body part bears a file or comb with ridges, the other has the plectrum, which runs over the ridges to produce a vibration. 19. For tettigoniads, the forewings are used to sing. Tettigoniads produce continuous songs known as trills. The size of the insect, the spacing of the ridges, and the width of the scraper all influence what sound is made. 20. Many species stridulate at a tempo which is governed by ambient temperature, so that the number of chirps in a defined period of time can produce a fairly accurate temperature reading. For American katydids, the formula is generally given as the number of chirps in 15 seconds plus 37 to give the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit. 21. Predation. Wandering spider Cupienius sp. With Tettigoniidae sp. Prey. Some tettigoniads have spines on different parts of their bodies that work in different ways. The Lystrocellinae have limb spines on the ventral surfaces of their bodies. This works in a way to confine their prey to make a temporary cage above their mouthparts. The spines are articulated and comparatively flexible, but relatively blunt. Due to this, they are used to cage and not penetrate the prey's body. Spines on the tibia and the femora are usually more sharp and non-articulated. They are designed more for penetration or help in the defensive mechanism they might have. This usually. Katydid. I love to hear thine earnest voice. Wherever thou art hid, thou testy little dogmatist. Thou pretty katydid, thou mindest me of. Works with their diurnal roosting posture to maximize defense and prevent predators from going for their head. 22. Defense mechanisms. Katydid mimicking a leaf. A meadow katydids in Hawaii. When tettigoniads go to rest during the day, they enter a diurnal roosting posture to maximize their cryptic qualities. This position fools predators into thinking the katydid is either dead or just a leaf on the plant. Various tettigoniads have bright coloration and black apical spots on the inner surfaces of the tegmina, and brightly colored hind wings. By flicking their wings open when disturbed, they use the coloration to fool predators into thinking the spots are eyes. This, in combination with their coloration mimicking leaves, allows them to blend in with their surroundings, but also makes predators unsure which side is the front and which side is the back. 23. The males provide a nuptial gift for the females in the form of a spermatophylax, a body attached to the male's spermatophore and consumed by the female, to distract her from eating the male's spermatophore and thereby increase his paternity. Gentlefolks. Old gent. The Tettigonidae have polygamous relationships. The first male to mate is guaranteed an extremely high confidence of paternity when a second male couples at the termination of female sexual refractoriness. The nutrients that the offspring ultimately receive will increase their fitness. The second male to mate with the female at the termination of her refractory period is usually cuckolded. 28. Competition. The polygamous relationships of the Tettigonidae lead to high levels of male-male competition. Male competition is caused by the decreased availability of males able to supply nutritious spermaphalanges to the females. Females produce more eggs on a high-quality diet, thus, the female looks for healthier males with a more nutritious spermatophylax. Females use the sound created by the male to judge his fitness. The louder and more fluent the trill, the higher the fitness of the male. 29. Stress response. In species which produce larger food gifts, the female often seeks out the males to copulate. This, however, is a cost to females.